All right, everybody, welcome to the first episode of The Brain and the Beard. My name's Tom, and I am The Beard, and my co-host over there is Marky, a.k.a. the brains of the operation. Marky, how you doing, buddy?
Feeling great. Long time coming for this podcast. We're just excited to, put something on an audio track, put something on a video track, and, just to get going, just to start creating this podcast, building it up, growing.
Long time for us. We've been talking about it for a little bit, but I'm sure this is news to most people that this is...
Exactly.
So
we just got, some immediate family and friends with some high expectations, and we're going to try and live up to that and, just get more people involved, build a community. And, the idea behind this is, we talk sports every day, right? Like we talk New York sports pretty much every chance we get. And we figure why not, build this community, grow, and, whether it's TikTok, podcast, YouTube, Instagram, whatever it is, just have some interactions with people out there and just see what they're thinking about these topics, because these are things we love to talk about. So
hopefully earn a fan base here. So.
Yeah, exactly. More of a family. Right?
Family, I like that.
So, he's the beard. As you can see, he's got the nice burly beard going. I guess you could call me the brain. I do take a very statistics-based analytical outlook. So, as a fan, I like to incorporate that. I know, Tom, you're a little bit more of the passionate diehard.
More of just a wear it on my sleeve type guy, rooting for the Jets, even though we're supposedly in a tanking year situation, and we'll definitely dive into that more as we go. But that's me. I'm kind of just passionate, wear it on my heart on my sleeve type guy.
Yeah, and absolutely. And we just feel like when we were brainstorming ideas that our personalities as, co-hosts really could bounce off of each other, right? Because I have that more mild temperament. I love the offseason. I love analyzing different things that the Jets or the Mets, Knicks, whoever it may be, right? Things that they could do, approaches they could do, statistics-based things. And you're just all in the moment, whatever.
Yeah, you're a draft guy. I'm a Sunday afternoon type guy.
Yeah. So we just feel like we'll be a great balance. So that leads us right into what's going to be our main topic today, right? The talk of New York media, talk of, pretty much national media everywhere, Twitter, wherever you go, is the New York Jets and them finally winning a game, going from 0-13 to 1-13.
Love it.
So that right there, as you can see, he loves it. I wasn't really rooting for the Jets this week. I hate to say it as a fan. That kills me. This is the first time in my lifetime where I've actually rooted against us.
Well, let me stop you there. Sunday. So this is the second time we watched a game together this year, right? I was back in New York, and I was genuinely, mad at you because you were actively rooting against the Jets. You were wearing a Sam Darnold jersey, a hat, and rooting against him. You were the biggest Rams fan on Sunday, and it blew my mind. I couldn't believe it, and I was upset with you.
I felt like I could wear the jersey, though, because I was rooting for the long-term interest of our club. You know what I mean? Like the 15 years, you were
wearing the jersey of a guy you want out the door. So.
No, I love Sam, and I think he's going to do well elsewhere. And how many more times can I wear that jersey? We don't know. So just trying to get my last reps in there with the Darnold jersey. So that brings us exactly to this point: the tank versus no tank, right? The guys like you that they want to win. I get it. You only get 16 games a year. You're going to go out and win all of them. And I also understand the idea that these players and these coaches, they're not going to lose games for a kid who's still in college, obviously. But as a fan, you have a generational talent like Trevor Lawrence. So for me, I just, I was pretty locked in on him. Obviously now that's not as clear, but I want to hear your take on this tank versus no tank idea.
Okay. Yeah, so obviously my take on the tank versus no tank is I want to win ball games. I understand the tank. I think I would be in the minority rooting for us to win. However, I just don't have it in me. Like I said, if we don't get to I've told you this before, we have 16 weeks to root for our guys. 16 weeks, especially, in 2020, where not much is going too well, right? I needed at least one win. Are you kidding me? I hope for 3. Right? Yeah. We'd be locked in with the 2 seed with 3 wins. So obviously, I've been rooting for us to win every game. That Oakland loss. That was ridiculous. That kind of hurt me. But it was really nice to see how happy the guys were and how it made me happy that we went and played a 9-win Rams team and we came out on top. And you know what? They were playing inspired football for an 0-13 team, and that was really nice to see.
I will say this, like you said, like just seeing that post game, Sam Darnold all jacked up back home in LA. You know what I mean? The unthinkable. Jets going 0-13, 17.5 point dogs going into LA. Beating
cool.
9-4 playoff team in the Rams, and just seeing how happy he was. You see Marcus May running up to him in post game conference, giving him like a big, bear hug or whatever it was when he was getting interviewed, and like that's awesome because like these guys at the end of the day, as fans, all like the people rooting for the tank, myself included, like you're just so fixated on, getting this prospect that you want that you don't realize that these guys are playing every single week, practicing almost every single day.
It's their job. They're playing for their livelihood.
And in football, it's not like the NBA where you could take off games, right? Like in football, if you take off plays, you're going to get hurt. Like these guys are playing their hardest. These coaches probably or most likely aren't going to be here next year. Like these guys are trying to win. Like it's their job. They get paid to win football games. So you can't be mad at the players. Like, you know what I mean? Like maybe the situation.
And how about this? Think of a guy like Mekhi Becton, right?
Yeah.
He's going to be the future. That was his first win.
Yeah,
You want him to like experience a win, and I know he had some stuff in the media he came out with saying you weren't a real fan.
But he could say that because he's out there every day.
And I love that. And I love that. I'm with him 100% with that. So I'm happy for those guys. And, I know it might have screwed up the Lawrence sweepstakes, but that's fine. What's going to happen is going to happen.
Exactly. And you never know. Maybe there's a better option out there, but I doubt it. But you never know. So this brings me to this. What are some, maybe just from this game or from the season, who do you think are some of the bright spots? Like the young players maybe, or, is there anyone that sticks out to you this season watching them, even though it's been a brutal year at 0-13, now 1-13?
No, there's definitely been some bright spots. Off the bat, I mentioned him just before, Mekhi Becton, the big ticket, Highway 77. The dude is a monster.
Exactly.
We're building the team around him. We're building around our left tackle, and he was by far and away exceeding our expectations this year. I'd say Marcus May. Marcus May has proven to be a stud. He's proven to be, the safety that we need, and he's also the leader that we need. He look about our defense past couple of years. He's one of like two guys still on it.
You think he's better? You think he's been a more integral piece of the Jets defense than Jamal Adams in the past?
I don't think that's fair to say. I think
different type of player.
Different type, and I think Jamal's a stud, but I think when all said and done, with the year we've had, we won that trade because we're getting those picks, and it's going to work out for us. And, he didn't want to be here regardless. So I would say Marcus May, bright spot, definitely killing it. Quinnen looks like he's going to be very good.
I think, he is very good.
I think he is very good, but, he still looks young, but I do see him...
Top 5 D tackle right now.
Okay, I love it.
At least I think so.
I love it.
Watching him.
And I definitely see him, having a very, very high ceiling.
Exactly. And I think the people last year that were like,
well,
Quinnen's a bust. I've loved Quinnen, one, because of his personality. He's a walking meme. But he's a great dude.
I don't think Kyler Murray.
Yeah, exactly. Bless you, thank you. You know what I mean? But, like, he's a great player, great attitude, and, like, people were last year screaming, pounding the table that we should have taken Josh Allen, the edge rusher from the, Jacksonville, right? So, like, he had, like, 7 or 8 sacks, whatever it may be last year. But, like, you're seeing Quinnen, he's given this time to develop. And would he start 1 year at Bama? Like, he needed that time. And now he's just a superstar. And, like some other under-the-radar guys, I know you're a big Bryce Hall guy, so am I. Jonathan Franklin-Myers.
He's on my list. I know you love, that D-line, maybe with the exception of Henry Anderson.
Foley Fatukasi, my boy. Yeah, no, exactly. There's plenty of guys there. That's a group that I don't even know if they need any additions this offseason. I think that's a plug-and-play ready group.
Well,
you're getting Mosley back.
I will say this. Look, tough year for us. The defense has played... they've played really hard. Yeah. And one guy on that D that I absolutely love, I think Neville Hewitt is an absolute
They got to re-sign him, I think.
He's on a 1-year dog deal. On the field. You watch any game, he lays... Like, I'm talking lays someone out. Yeah. At minimum, one person per game.
So do you want him next to Mosley as a starting linebacker next year?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think Neville Hewitt...
Because Mosley's not going anywhere with that contract, obviously.
He is a dog. I think Crowder has been super consistent on the offense in the games that he's played. I think he's done really well for us. I think Mims, like Quinnen, I mean, obviously you see more of it in Quinnen, but I do think Mims is going to be a very good player. And I think Harvey Lange. In his limited role that he has played, I don't know if he's playing this week or not, but in his limited role that he has played, he has, played inspired football.
Yeah.
He's been fun to watch.
He's a menace.
He's flying around, he's hitting people, and he's, they were having fun. At least, past couple games.
And nonetheless, even if he's just a special teamer next year, I think he's a guy that they need to make sure is back in the building. You know what I mean? High energy guy. All right. So
another guy like that, Berrios.
I love Berrios. I went to University of Miami. He was there with me. Berrios is just a gamer. So we're filming this on a Saturday night. Obviously, we got a lot of games tomorrow to play. 2 left. I believe Jacksonville is home against Chicago, and then I don't know where the game is, week 17, but they're playing the Colts. Then Jets have the Browns, and they have, the Patriots. Who knows what will happen. But, so, like, with that being said, there's a lot that could still happen, right? Like,
absolutely.
A lot of Jets fans are locked into this idea that, Jets can't pick any lower than 2. We know that for sure. But a lot of people have already ruled out this first pick. Well, you know what I mean? Easily, the Jags can, on any given Sunday.
It's the NFL.
Yeah.
Anybody can beat anybody.
So, we have seen some signs of tanking. James Robinson ruled out just hours ago. Mike Glennon named the starter. So, it does look like a little bit of an uphill battle for the Jags, but we are just putting that caveat out there that anything could happen, right? The Jets, we might be making this podcast. We might not even get to you guys before, who knows? We might be back in position for the first pick, I'm sorry. So,
but it's good to talk about it regardless.
So I think with that being said, it is important for us to talk about some alternatives at the second pick. And, what I think there's really like 4 options here that could happen. So let's get your take on them. So it looks like we could take Zach Wilson, who is a new name in the mix, right? We could take Justin Fields. If we don't want to go the quarterback route, we want to stick with Sam. You could build up that offensive line, put Sewell, the tackle from Oregon, on one side, and then you bookend the other side with Mekhi Becton, which would be pretty scary duo for the next 10, 15 years. Or you could trade back, collect some assets, and then from there pick best player available. So for me personally, if you would have asked me 10 days ago, if you said for some odd reason the Jets had the second pick, where do you want to go with this? I would definitely say Fields, right? And in the past week, kind of everything's starting to slowly, stack up against that, right? Like Fields had a rough game against Northwestern. Who knows if that thumb was, it was an issue and was really hindering him. Threw 2 interceptions in the Big Ten championship game. I think he, his completion percentage was pretty low, only threw for, just over 100 yards somewhere, very not inspiring game, right? For a guy you're going to take number 2 overall. And then on the other hand, Zach Wilson out of nowhere. He's had a great season, of course, but nobody was really talking about him coming into this year. I think he's got like 33 touchdowns.
First year he's really produced.
Yeah, exactly. I think he had 11 touchdowns and 9 picks last
year. He's good though.
Yeah, no,
he's good.
And just watching him, a lot of Jets fans I know, like, I'm all over the Jets community, whether it's Reddit, Twitter, Instagram, whatever it may be. And, everyone's like, we're locking in on Zach Wilson's game tonight. I think he played UCF in, like, the Boca Raton Bowl game, and he just tore it up. Like, 435 yards. I think he threw, he accounted for, 5 total touchdowns. Mm-hmm. He just looked electric, you know what I mean? You watch him, and he's a game-changing prospect. But the thing is, he's playing...
bigger than I thought.
Yeah. So they list him at 6'3". He's probably only 6'1", 6'2". But he just makes plays. He extends plays. He has insane arm talent, placements there. But the question is the talent, is BYU playing that elite talent? Probably not. Look, so do you think that translates?
I don't think he's our guy.
Okay.
He's got 1 year of real, good play, right? Good quality play. And, BYU plays a good schedule. They don't play a great schedule.
Yeah.
Right? So I think if you take...
And not this year. Even worse this year because of the whole COVID.
And they lost to Coastal.
Yeah.
That's tough. There was a fun game to watch, but it was tough, to think that guy's going to come in and take over, our starting offense. So, me personally, I know you were asking me before you kind of went on your little tangent there, what I would do. So, obviously, if you are the first pick, you have to take Lawrence.
Of course. That's a given.
He's a generational talent. That's a given for anybody. But I think if we're not in that first pick, I think, you trade it away and you get some assets for it, or you go with the tackle, the kid from Oregon. And like you said, bookend around Sam. And, I think Sam has the potential to be very good. I know someone hit me up the other day and they were like, well, this stinks. We lost. Lawrence is going to win 2 Super Bowls. That's the future. Sam Darnold could win 2 Super Bowls for you.
But Andrew Luck didn't win, right? Andrew Luck, great player, was, a top player at his position, but they ended up not winning a Super Bowl with him, and he was a guaranteed bet.
So I am more comfortable. I don't really think Fields, I think he's good. I don't think he's great.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a drop-off between Lawrence to Fields. So I think, 1, take Lawrence, no doubt.
Yeah.
If you are in the 2 slot, I think you take the tackle.
It's a tough decision.
I think you take the tackle, and you put a solid, foundation to the line in front of Sam. Because, look, Sam hasn't had anybody blocking him for him for 3 years, right? Becton is the first promising, O-lineman we've really had in his tenure.
And look at the impact he's had, right, in 1 year.
So I think you definitely you take the tackle and you build around that with Sam next year if you are in the 2 spot. And you know what? I love Sam. I stand with Sam Darnold. I feel bad for this kid. This kid has been dragged through the mud throughout the New York media, and I can't think of one time that he has complained about it. When most other people would complain about their situation, the dude has had a garbage line in front of him for the past 3 years. Yeah, he had the mono thing, which set him back a little bit, but he really hasn't had premier targets. And even look this year when he's had the 3 receivers in there, the top 3 receivers, he's looked pretty good. So I think, I think Sam's your guy, and I'm not all that up on the money situation with it. I'm sure you might know a little bit better with that, with the contract. But I do think with the second pick, if we have the second pick, we stay with Sam.
All right, this is my take on the situation. I think you make a lot of great points. Like, who knows? If you sign a wide receiver, right? Sign Allen Robinson, draft Penei Sewell, like, you're putting Darnold in a great position. But my take is, I just think we're a little bit far gone in that situation. I think we failed him to definitely to an extent. And you know what? I think it might be best for both parties just to move on. We trade Sam to a favorable situation, whether it's Indianapolis, whether it's Chicago, right? San Fran.
Well, I will say this. I will root for that kid wherever
absolutely,
he goes.
wherever he goes. But I think these are my reasons for why I want to take a quarterback at 2, whether it's Wilson or Fields, and I'll get to that after, is that you're going to have a fresh start, right? You're bringing in a new coach. Darnold's going into year 4. So it's like, we got to reset this clock at some point. Everyone knows a lot of these teams in the recent history that have, won Super Bowls, you're building around a quarterback on their rookie contract just because we know how expensive quarterbacks are going to be. Yeah. So you're going to let your coach, I think it'll hinder some coaching options if you say, like, we're sticking with Darnold as opposed to saying, like, hey, you're in on this decision, Wilson, Fields. I think the money situation, Darnold's going into year 4, that option for the 5th year is looming, and that's around, I don't know the exact number. I think it's like $25 million, something crazy. So has Sam warranted that? Maybe not. Like, we don't know because we didn't.
You know what? I think if you're not getting Lawrence,
it is a roll of the dice.
It's worth taking the year to
and
see what happens.
You could always pick someone.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. So I think 1 for the coaching reason, 2 for the the financials, and then I just think the Jets kind of have a stink about them, right? Like, we come in with tough, a new excitement. We come in next year, we have, say an Allen Robinson or a Galladay, Juju, whoever it may be, you get a new running back in the draft, you add a Fields or Wilson, like, there is going to be a new energy about the Jets.
I will say this, man, that's probably been the toughest thing for me personally as a fan of this organization.
We're the laughing
this
stock.
year.
Yeah,
I mean, you remember when the Browns, didn't win a game, or the Lions, like, they were laughing. Like, we thought of them like, oh, that organization.
And that's us now.
And that's us. That's what everybody thinks about us, and that kills me. So that's another reason why I'm so jacked up we got the win, too.
Yeah.
Like, we don't need that 0-16. We didn't need that 0-16.
No, I agree with that.
We don't want to be that asterisk.
So I think we should definitely take the QB. I you know what? Last week, going into the game, I felt like it was time. Like, whether it was Sam's fault or not, we had a QB issue, whether we want to admit it or not. And, Sam played well.
Who are you taking?
I personally, right now, I think I'm still rolling with Fields, but Wilson is very intriguing.
Now, why do you like Fields more than Wilson? Wow.
So I like Fields more than Wilson for a couple reasons. One, just he is that blue chip prospect. You know what I mean? Someone who's done it for year in and year out. You know what I mean? He was on QB1. It was always Lawrence and him, 1A, 1B, coming out of high school. They were the top 2 recruits in the nation.
I mean, he got beat out by Fromm. Zach Fromm's he's a third-string quarterback for the Bills.
But I think Georgia fans would tell you they wanted Fields in that whole year. So
okay.
They were 1A, 1B coming out of high school, number 1 and 2 overall recruits. They went to the Elite 11. I believe Fields won the MVP over Lawrence, right? That doesn't mean too much in the grand scheme. They're both winning at the collegiate level, right? Like, this is Fields' second year in the playoff, just like Lawrence. This is his third. And,
I'd like to.
They played a tight game last year. And, I think Jets fans are going to be all in on this playoff game on New Year's Day. You're going to get to watch what everyone thought was going to be our QB in Lawrence
Who do you got winning?
I do think Clemson wins, but you know how jacked up we'll be as Jets fans? Say we're locked into the second pick, and Fields goes out there and outduels Trevor Lawrence, we're going to be on cloud 9. You know what I mean? We're going to be like, this is our guy.
I'm not.
I will be. I'm rooting Fields, and you know what? On draft day...
I'll be feeling bad for my boy Sam Darnold if the two of them light it up.
But I will say, on draft day, am I going to be upset if we take Zach Wilson? Absolutely not. If we take Penei Sewell? No. Because I trust Joe D. I trust the Jets. They're brass that they're going to make the right decision. They're going to evaluate them.
I like Douglas.
So,
but hey, like I said, whatever happens, happens. Whoever's wearing green and white, whoever's the starting quarterback, that's my guy. That's who I'm riding with.
At the end of the day, and I think regardless, the Jets we're going to be in a lot better situation.
It does feel like a potential breakup with Sam, where I feel really bad about it,
rooting for the new guy.
It's not you, it's me. It's almost what I feel like. But you know what? That would be the case because if he is dealt, he's dealt not. I mean, granted, he didn't play unbelievable out of that draft class coming out, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like he hasn't had a fair shot, so it would be on us as an organization, not him.
See,
in the breakup.
With Fields too, another note on Fields is he's playing in the Big Ten, one of the better conferences, obviously, and I think in his career he's got 60 touchdowns and 8 picks or something crazy like that. Like, he's just putting up video game numbers against solid teams. And then obviously the concern is this year they've had 2 big games. Their 2 big games he didn't play well. They got the win both times. Indiana, he struggled. He threw 3 picks. But I think he threw for 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, got the win. And then Northwestern obviously was a pretty big struggle. But you know what? This kid, he's a winner. I think he's an accurate passer. I think the one thing is
he's mobile too, which is nice.
I mean, we're no scouts obviously, but like a lot of the things to him is making the reads and progressing through defenses. Apparently Zach Wilson does that well. So you know what? I'm all in on whoever I think we're in a good situation regardless. Obviously the dream situation was Lawrence, but that looks like it could be gone. But it's not the end of the world. Like, we're gonna have options there.
You got like 4 Sam Darnold jerseys. That would be so sad for your wallet.
I know. I don't know if you guys could see it in the frame, but we got a signed Sam Darnold jersey on the wall. I still am the biggest Sam Darnold fan, but I just think it's time for both parties to move on. And whether it's Fields or Wilson, I'm excited for the future.
Not me, Sam. I know I might be in the minority saying it, but I'm with you, brother.
Hey, but either way, and you know what? I will miss Sam when he is gone, if he is gone. Who knows? I think, there's a much better chance now he's back. You know what I mean? But he could be gone.
You know what? He does, kind of these next 2 games, he kind of, I guess doesn't really control his own fate, but he can
he could put on a
dictate what goes on for himself.
Exactly. For sure. If he puts on a show, I think they'll be much more hesitant to move on from him because that number 2 pick isn't a slam dunk at QB, where Sewell is a slam dunk.
Talk to me about the Jags.
Disappointed in Marone. That's all I got to say. I know he wants to win, and he's probably. I don't know.
Well, tell everybody what the thought process is with that. Why we are saying this. What just came out today in the.
I think I briefly mentioned it earlier. Mike Glennon named starter again, and obviously we saw him. We saw him struggle in some games this year. There's no, exactly. Where Minshew Mania maybe could pull one out of his hat, right? Like,
at least Minshew's fun to watch.
So yeah, exactly. He gives you some excitement, and I would have liked to see Minshew play. And now, like, they put a bunch of guys on IR. You saw James Robinson ruled out, and he said he wanted to play this week.
I think it's the softest thing in the world.
Exactly.
I think it is so soft, and I know. You know what? I know it's not coming from Doug. No, Doug Marone. He's a good coach. He might not have a job next year, but I know he wants to win. I know all those players,
and they're going to try and win with these guys.
They're going to try to win when they're on the field.
But they don't have their studs.
It's like playing a JV versus a varsity, and I think that's absolutely, it's brutal to watch as a NFL fan.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, it's like you're just conceding that we want this 20-year-old kid. And I get it, it's the tank, but to actively do it, like where you're
putting guys on IR.
They don't even care. Like that's kind of cheating. You know what I'm saying?
But like you said, the Jets went out there and played their hearts out and got a win. And look how happy they were.
And I hope they keep doing it.
I think the guy I'm happiest for is Frank Gore and Darnold. Because look at Gore. Gore, what is he, 38 years old? This might be his last season. You want him to go out on 0-16?
No,
honestly,
Frank Gore, he's been good for us, man. I know everybody kind of is like, oh, look at our franchise 38-year-old running back. But you know what? The dude runs hard, and I like what he's doing out there, and I was happy to see him, go get a touchdown in the second half of that game to help kind of.
And he had the game-sealing catch to win it. Yeah,
dude.
No, exactly.
So that was really nice to see.
Another thing I want to talk about, this is still pertaining to the draft, is, even though we're not going to be in the ideal situation, probably not with the first pick, we'll probably be picking 2. A thing that I haven't seen anyone talk about that I think is so important is, even if we end up with the same record, we end up at 2, but we get the first pick every other round. So that means we're going to be picking first in the second round, and we're going to be picking first in the fourth round.
See, this is stuff I don't even think about.
So
this is why you're the brain.
We need Joe D to nail these picks, right?
He will.
We got a lot of holes in the roster, but we're in a good situation because we have 5 first-round picks over the next 3 years. We have a boatload of cap space.
I think we need to trust Joe Douglas. I think the Jamal Adams trade was great.
Good trade.
And look at what he's done in the draft, too.
Yeah.
Everybody he drafted besides
free.
the quarterback. I didn't really get the quarterback. What was his name?
James Morgan.
Morgan. I think that was maybe his one miss. I mean, even the punter he drafted, why you drafted, the dude was good.
Yeah. And then look at the undrafted free agents. Bryce Huff. You have... What's his name? You got Javelin Guidry. I know he's your boy in Madden. You got, Huff has one of the best pressure rates of any player in the draft. Any rookie. You know what I mean? Let alone if you're drafted or not. And then Lamar Jackson. I know he got burnt on the Henry Ruggs pass, but those are 3 contributors.
You mean the real Lamar Jackson?
Yeah, exactly. Right? So like I was saying, we're gonna have all night to hit on that first pick in the second round and the first pick in the fourth round. We're gonna have all night to reevaluate our draft board and decide who we're picking to add on to those early picks that we have. I think we're in good shape. Think about it. Whether it's Fields, Darnold, say we do go the new route, right, with the new QB, you could potentially add Fields and an ETN
I'd love ET.
And then an O-lineman, edge rusher, whatever it is in those early picks, and then sign Allen Robinson. So imagine if you have Allen Robinson, Justin Fields, Travis Etienne just infused into this offense.
All right, so you just mentioned a potential free agent pickup, wide receiver. Yeah. I think that's a definite need for us, right? Because you got Crowder, you got Mims. I think
you need that one more, right?
You need a third receiver, but that third receiver needs to be your one, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So you either, I guess, re-sign Perriman, or you get one of these free agent wide receivers, or you pick someone up in the draft, right? And
I'd prefer to go free agent. Right,
so
we got a ton of money,
right? I know you prefer to go free agent. That's kind of what I was leading up to.
Yeah.
Who do you take and why?
All right. Who do I love Juju, but I don't think he's the right fit for the offense.
I love Juju, but I don't know if I can deal with the TikTok dances, though.
I know. So look. If he's available, Allen Robinson, I'm throwing everything at
bags.
He's a beast, and he's done it without QB play. You see him down in Jacksonville with Bortles, the boat. And then, in Chicago with Mitch Trubisky and Nick Foles. So, and you pair him with Fields, or Wilson or Darnold, and I think, he's going to be a big-time boost for this offense. And if not, you have other great options. I don't think Galladay will hit the market, but he could. Chris Godwin. We mentioned Juju. And then,
I like Juju.
It's Allen.
But I could see Juju succeeding in New York because you know what? He is that.
He's the millennial. He's a millennial.
He loves the limelight.
Or Gen Z,
and what better place to go than go live in... I guess probably live in New Jersey.
But still.
But have that New York City presence,
I can see him on Times Square on a billboard, right? Like Juju. Yeah,
man.
So,
I think Juju would be a good fit.
He would probably be my second choice. I love Allen Robinson. And then, if you want to go that next tier down, there's guys like, Corey Davis, who's had a monster year, but they didn't pick up his option. I think T.Y. Hilton's kind of washed, but T.Y.'s been turning on at the end.
I'm not too high on T.Y.
And then, still a good player, but, not that guy you want to bring in to be your number one. And then lastly, like a Marvin Jones, but, I don't think both Lions receivers are going to hit the market. But there's plenty of options out there, and we have a ton of money. I think Joe's going to target Joe Thuney, though, the big guard. That was apparently his top option last offseason.
I love it. Build the line.
Exactly. You got
money.
Yeah.
We have money.
And, he targeted him last year. He got tagged. I think he hits free agency this year. Imagine if they sign Thuney and draft Sewell, and you have Becton, Thuney,
and we need a
Sewell.
running back.
Yeah, exactly. So it's gonna be. There's so many questions this offseason. It's gonna be a real roller coaster ride for us Jets fans. But buckle up. It's gonna be a good ride.
You'll be pumped up for it. For sure.
And I love this stuff, following it all.
And there's obviously something we haven't touched on, but I think it's inevitable.
Yes, I know exactly what you're going to say.
Go ahead.
All right, so Adam Gase, clearly on Black Monday. It looks like that's, definitely going to happen. If it doesn't happen, I think Jets fans will just
Can
revolt.
I give my piece on Gase?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So Gase obviously rode the coattails of Peyton Manning. Got him a head coaching job in Miami. Yeah. He left, right? Well, didn't leave on his own accord, but so now he's with us, and
He's been brutal.
He's been brutal, but look, he needs to go. He absolutely needs to go, but I feel bad for the guy. On Sundays when because I guess I really can't feel bad for him because
he made his bed.
It's his bed. He's got to lay in it, but I do feel bad for him in the sense Lev Bell went south. Mosley hasn't played yet. Like a lot of key pieces
that we were once so excited for
didn't happen, right? And I think that similar to Darnold, it's been a raw deal for him, kind of with those circumstances. But
I'm not going to side as much with Gase on you.
Look, I'm not siding with Gase. But I feel bad for the guy. I
get it.
I do hope he gets a job.
Just not
a head coach job. He should not be a head.
He'll probably be back at QB coach, to be honest.
Yes, but we, that is the. I don't even think it's an elephant in the room. I think everybody. Well, I guess it is. Everyone knows Gase is going. I think that's inevitable. So who? Well, give us your
a lot of the options. Well, not for me, but in general, we lost out likely on that first pick. So I think that's going to narrow down your options a lot with head coaches, right? Everyone wants a chance to come coach this generational talent, the next Elway, Peyton Manning, whatever it may be, and there might not be lining up anymore as they would. But we're still going to have some options. There's no doubt. So, if I'm just looking at in a dream world, I would love Campbell from Iowa State. Don't think he leaves now. Pat Fitzgerald from Northwestern for going the college route. I don't see that happening either. I think if anything, maybe the Bears if Nagy's let go, but who knows? They just won a game. They're in the playoff mix still. Don't see him coming to the Jets, but more realistic options. Joe Brady, inexperienced, only 31 years old, but just an offensive mastermind.
Yeah.
And I think if you pair him with one of these defensive-minded head coaches that just got fired, say you take Quinn as your D coordinator, he has that
Salisbury
experience.
guy.
Exactly.
Where
That's your alma mater. Even Patricia, right? Pair him with Patricia, just someone who knows, what it takes to be a head coach.
I would, I wouldn't mind either of those guys running the defense.
Him and Zach Wilson.
Neither of them as the head coach. Neither of them.
Joe Brady with Zach Wilson be a scary combo.
I like, I think we need to infuse that youthfulness into our team, right? Because I know we just beat them, but McVay.
Yeah.
What he brought to LA.
He revamped
that fire,
Shanahan
that
to the Niners. Exactly.
We need
LaFleur
that.
to the Packers.
Look, we had Todd Bowles. Didn't have an emotion.
That's
we
the
had
most
Adam
important
Gase,
thing.
Didn't have an emotion. We need someone fiery to light a spark to get these what Joe Judge has kind of done for the Giants.
And I was very skeptical of Judge, and he's really turned the tide on how I feel about him and the Giants. So you know that because I never root for the Giants, and this year I've been all in on the Giants.
Dude, I'm with you. Same boat. I've never rooted for the Giants with this wild NFC East going on.
I have been rooting for them. But I will say this. I think Joe Brady is even a pipe dream, but I think the guy who's a realistic option, I think he's done wonders up in Buffalo. You bring in Dabble, and you see what he's done with Josh Allen. He's the O coordinator there. He's won 5 championships as assistant coach in New England, won one as the O coordinator in Bama. This guy wins. He's developed a young QB who's a raw prospect. Look at Josh Allen's a top, 10 QB in the NFL now.
What they did for Josh Allen
is what we needed to do for Darnold.
Is what we needed to do.
And that's what we need to do for the new guy.
Stephon Diggs, dude, that made him a different
And that could be our Allen Robinson.
It could.
So I think the guy is Dabble, and he coached in New England with Patricia. I think Dabble and Patricia as your D coordinator would be the staff that realistically, because I'm not going to go say we're getting Joe Brady, that's a staff that I think is realistic, but also a great staff for a young quarterback. So I think that's kind of where I would go.
All right, so we got the Browns tomorrow.
I think they're going to play tough, but I see the Browns needing this game
The
too
Browns
much.
need this one. Yeah. I know the Browns are what?
They're 10 and 4, I think.
Right now.
And Baker's playing well.
They could potentially. I think I saw something. They could potentially have 11 wins and not make the playoffs.
Yeah, they're playing this
They're
week.
playing hard.
Yeah.
But you know what? Let's play some inspired football, right?
Yeah,
we're locked.
exactly.
We're locked in at the 2. Let's come out. I don't know what.
Well, you got to monitor that Jags game. I know you won't, but I will be monitoring that Jags game.
Well, I will.
They're trying to lose. It feels like.
I'll check it out, but at the end of the day, I want us to win these next 2 games because that's how I.
That's how you've always been. Yeah.
Absolutely. I can't root against this. I was sitting in the bar for that Oakland game, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm down in Maryland, and so you got the Ravens, Skins, but we're near Delaware, so a lot of Eagles fans.
Yeah.
None of them played in that time slot.
So everyone's watching
the bar.
Jets.
No, the bar was empty, right? And they have the Jets on numerous TVs. And there's it's me, my buddy, who's an Eagles fan, who was just sitting watching the games with me. And the only other table is a Jet fan down there, right? And this guy and me, we're rooting for different games. He was rooting for Oakland.
I was rooting Oakland.
He was rooting for Oakland, and I'm going hard for the Jets. And when we scored, and when we were up late, I was like, oh, dude, this is awesome. And I even flipped him. I had the guy change his emotion for the game. And then we kind of had a joke when we took the lead. I was like, all right, we can lateral them the ball and they could score and I'll be all right with it. And I was completely joking.
Yeah.
Then we gave them that touchdown. I was so dejected, dude. I was like, oh, I just can't root against us.
That was the first game I rooted against us, and it hurt. And now that I've kind of mentally moved on from this Trevor Lawrence idea, right? It's dwindling, right? It's pretty much gone. So I'll be rooting for us this week. We tasted a win last week. Well,
by the time you all are hearing this game's definitely probably happened.
This game would have already happened, so.
So congrats on the Jets win. All right, we're 2-13. It's feeling good.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably going to do it for
that's going to wrap up the inaugural pod.
First step.
It was fun filming it. We had a great time.
What's our socials?
So I believe everywhere besides Twitter is at the Brain and the Beard. Spelled out. And then Twitter's a little funky. I guess we'll put that out there somehow.
Hey, look, I'm sure many of you are going to disagree with maybe some stuff we say or maybe agree with some stuff we say. We're kind of on both sides of the spectrum here, so let us know what you reach out to us on one of those DM, TikTok, Instagram, whatever it may be. And Mark, I'm sure Marky will be on top of that, and me not so much. But let us know what you think, and we can kind of have that conversation.
And shoot us some of your opinions. Whenever we post anything, if you have a comment, you feel differently, post it or ask a question, and maybe we'll get back to it with a video or whatever it may be. So we're excited to get this going and
jet up
and to build a community here. A nice Jets. Well, this was all Jets, but like we mentioned, moving forward, if it's, Mets season, if it's, we got the Knicks going, we got the Devils, whatever it may be. I know Devils really, that doesn't fit in that well.
Yeah, that's just my.
That's. I mean, I'm a little bit of a Devils fan. Tom's a big Devils fan. But we're gonna be talking about everything, and even big sports topics. We're still gonna be talking about those if they happen. So this won't be only Jets, but we're in the middle of the Jet season right now, so we're talking.
This
Jets.
didn't go that bad either, so it was pretty promising.
We felt like this was some good conversation today.
All right, later, you brainiacs and bearded beauties.